And the 2023 script for the New Orleans Saints is finally here. We had the leaks coming in all day, but they finally have been confirmed for what the 2023 schedule is. And we also know the 3 preseason games for New Orleans. They're going to play the Kansas City Chiefs at home. They're going to travel to the Chargers to play them in week 2 of the preseason, and they will be back home at the Dome against the Houston Texans for week 3 of the preseason. But we're not here to talk preseason football. We're here to talk about the regular season. So let's break down the schedule. In week 1, you got the home opener. Tyjae Spears is headed back to Louisiana, and you will be taking on the Titans at the Dome in the home opener for Derek Carr against the Titans. Week 2, you take on the Panthers in Carolina on Monday Night Football. It's going to be a really fun show. And week 3 at the Packers. Week 4 versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers without Tom Brady. That should be an easy win. Week 5 at the Patriots. Week 6 at the Texans. Week 7 versus the Jaguars on Thursday Night Football. Week 8 at the Colts. That's a Super Bowl matchup from a handful of years ago where the Saints won their first and only Lombardi trophy in Miami. And then in week 9, you take on the Chicago Bears in New Orleans, and then you travel to Minneapolis to take on those frauds and those bums in Minnesota and the Minnesota Vikings. Week 11, you get your bye. It's time to take a snooze, take a few off your feet, and eat some crawfish. That's out of season, so eat some jambalaya. Week 12 at the Falcons. Week 13 versus the Lions. Week 14 versus the Panthers. Week 15, the Giants come back to the Superdome. Hopefully that can be a dub for them, unlike last time. Week 16, you travel to LA to take on the Rams in Thursday Night Football. And then week 17, you play at Tampa Bay. And then week 18, you play versus the Atlanta Falcons. And guys, this is why you should subscribe. We're breaking down the entire record. We're breaking down the entire schedule. I'm going to give you guys my entire and full-blown record prediction, full, in-depth analysis, in-depth thoughts on everything for the New Orleans Saints 2023 season. So lock us in, subscribe, youtube.com/@Saints today. It's free, non-stop Saints videos all year long. I don't know why you wouldn't want to do it. If you like to live your life golden, if you like to be an absolute legend, and if you love the New Orleans Saints and you bleed black and gold, join our squad here at Saints Now by Chat Sports. Lock us in. Saints content by Saints fans for Saints fans. All right, so let's go through the schedule. Week 1, this is going to be a fun one. You get Derek Carr's first game in New Orleans, or as a New Orleans Saint in New Orleans, and that's just going to be an exciting time. And I think that it's a really good matchup to get Derek Carr acclimated to what the Saints offense is, what the Superdome is like during game day, as well as the fact that the Titans, they're not that good. So it should be a nice win. It should be something that you can make happen. And also just kind of cool to see Tyjae Spears get his NFL debut in Louisiana. All right, so then week 2, as we know, Panthers are going to take on the Saints in Monday Night Football. Derek Carr, Bryce Young. It's going to be a great matchup. I'm so excited to see how this game goes, and it's going to be a really fun one to get to. Week 3, you take on the Packers. Aaron Rodgers isn't there anymore, so you're going to have Jordan Love. You played the Packers last season in the preseason, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do. And if you remember, last time the Saints played the Packers in the regular season was like week 1 of that year. Jameis tore his ACL, and they won like 35-7. It was some ridiculous score. I can't even remember off the top of my head. And then week 4, you take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Dome. Hey, I'm really hoping that this is the year we can get back on track as the New Orleans Saints. This is the year that the Saints should be able to take down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There should be no problem taking down Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask or whoever's going to be running that offense. They're going to be a dumpster fire. I don't think the Bucs are going to be any good this year, and I think that the Saints should easily walk out of the Superdome, be able to go home and get easy night's sleep knowing that you're eating W's against the Bucs. But I need you guys to do me a favor here. Predict the Saints record. We've ran through it real quick. I wanted you guys to see what was, the schedule. We still have a handful of games to break down and get some thoughts and, get into a little bit more of analysis on. But predict the Saints record for me. I'll give you guys my record prediction in tomorrow's video, so be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications. But I want to hear from the Who Dat Nation. All right, so let's get to week 5 through 8. Week 5. there was buzz, there was rumors that the Saints were going to take on the Patriots in Germany. Obviously, that's not the case. So you're taking them on in New England at Foxborough, at Gillette Stadium. That's going to be a fun one. Week 6 at the Houston Texans. They have a better team. D'Amico Ryan, C.J. Stroud. They also drafted Will Anderson with that 3rd overall pick. Active a little bit in free agency. The Texans, I'm not going to say are going to be a great team, but they're going to be better than they were last year, so definitely keep that one on your radar. Hey, and then the Jacksonville Jaguars Thursday night game. I don't know what it is, but I personally think that the Jags might be one of the toughest teams you play, at least the best quarterback. At least the best quarterback that you're going to play against. I mean, other than that, it's like Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Trevor Lawrence. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's not going to be a good situation. So the Saints should have a good win against the Jags at the Dome on Thursday Night Football. And then you also take on the Colts and potentially Anthony Richardson by then. I would assume that Anthony Richardson does eventually take over as a starting quarterback, and I think the Week 8 area is a spot to keep an eye out for. So be sure to keep your eyes on this Week 8 matchup as well, because I think that that could be a really, really fun one. And guys, if you want to interact with me a little bit more, if you want to get more content, get more coverage, in-depth analysis, just, having some fun, memes, all sorts of fun stuff, highlights, coverage, hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Trace Girouard 48. I made it easy for you. Handles the same on all 3 platforms. I also have the link in the comment section and the description of this video. Feel free to hit me up. I'd love to chop it up with you guys, and feel free to DM me because I always love talking Saints football. All right, so Week 9, you're taking on the Chicago Bears, who were very, very active this offseason. They had a ton of money to spend. They had that 1st overall draft pick that they traded to the Panthers. They were doing everything they could to improve and give Justin Fields tools to succeed, and I think that they did a phenomenal job of doing that. Not going to be a walk in the park, but I believe that should be a win. But again, we'll have to see depending on injuries and stuff. So keep an eye out on Week 9. Week 10, I am very excited about Week 10 because anytime the Saints and the Vikings play, it's always a great game. I mean, even if you go back in history for the past handful of years, since the Saints Super Bowl run against the Vikings, that was a fun one. So I'm looking forward to chirping and shooting it up with producer Seeps, or chopping it up with producer Seeps on Week 10 for the Vikings game. Week 11, your bye comes at a good time in the year. Comes about a little over halfway through, gives you time to recover, gives you time to, take some weight off your shoulders, get relaxed, get ready to go. And then in Week 12, you take on those dirty birds in Atlanta. You got to go travel to take on those bums. And here's the thing. I need you to like this video if you hate the Falcons, because I hate the Falcons. I just can't stand them. I mean, they're a bunch of no. That team wasted Julio Jones' entire career. What a joke. What a bunch of frauds. Wasted Deion Jones. No. I hate the Falcons. I think that should be an easy dub. You walked into their stadium last year, Week 1, beat them, made them look like a bunch of fools. Let's do it again this year. Week 13, you take on the Lions, who, this might be an interesting matchup because they brought in C.J. Gardner-Johnson. You brought in Jamal Williams. So there's a handful of teams that I think that the Saints could be pretty fun to play, or pretty fun matchups to have, due to the fact that, how players moved around and how the offseason shook out and where they ended up. So let me know, Who Dat Nation. Are you going to be going to any Saints games this season? Type yes or type no. Last year, I went to the Saints-Rams games in New Orleans with my dad. It was my first Saints game ever, and it was so dang fun. I'm going to try to get out to a game this year, but I'm also going to be doing watch parties for almost every week. So I need you to let me know, are you going to a Saints game, yes or no? All right, so let's get into Week 14 through 18 to finish out the season. You take on the Panthers. You obviously played them Week 2, Monday Night Football. You get a nice little break. Maybe the Panthers could have a little bit more improvement by then. But then Week 15 versus the Giants. Last time the Saints and the Giants played, it was at the Dome. The Saints lost in overtime. It was just an ugly game. It was an ugly loss. I think that the Saints are a team that should be in a great position to succeed and to beat the New York Giants. And also, it's on December 17th, 2 days after my birthday, so I'd love a birthday win. I think that would just be pretty cool. Week 16, you take on those, the no call and all that whole nonsense thing. You have to play against those frauds and those bums again. Matthew Stafford, if he's healthy and his elbow checks out, might be a little bit of a better team than they were last year, but I don't think that they're going to be a great team this year. And then you take on the Bucs. You know my thoughts on the Bucs. And then you take on the Falcons. You know my thoughts on the Falcons. But just give me an FTB, FCAR, FATL in the comments, just because why not? I hate all those teams. And we all know the Saints are going to win the division. I mean, it's just a matter of time. We just got to let the schedule play itself out. But the schedule has been released. The script is laid out for you. And if you missed anything, just rewind and scroll on back and watch the video again. But I need you, Who Dat Nation, to get your crystal ball out and predict the Saints record for me this season. Again, my record prediction coming for you in tomorrow's video. I'm going to go very in-depth on all of this. So be sure to subscribe, turn on your notifications, lock us in, and most importantly, Saints fans, y'all stay golden. We'll see you tomorrow.